how's it going? Welcome to my FM24 save here with Deportivo La Coruña. My name is Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, which is part number 68, in which we're going to be reviewing the third quarter of the season, and we're going to be having a look at the second leg of the round of 16 in the Champions League, which we have today against Inter Milan. And if you're excited to see how we get on yet again against Inter Milan, because it feels like we played them at least 3 times a season, don't forget to leave a big like on the video for me, and don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so, and you keep up to track with all of the nonsense that comes out of this face right here. So, since you were last with us, a lot's happened. Namely, I haven't recorded a video in about a month. So, that's a thing. I did put a post up on Twitter, X, whatever the heck it is. I don't know. I don't know why I still use it. But I did put a post up on there explaining the reason why there's been a delay. The main reason is I don't have a ring to show, but I got engaged, or I did the engaging. I presented the... I'm getting married at some point in the future. That's the whole point of the point that I'm trying to make. So that's obviously a big thing. Also had a little week away and went to some wrestling as well. So that was all kind of fun. But I'm back. The videos at this point will be back up and running. And hopefully we're going to finish this season off with a bang. Now, before we get into the schedule you can see in front of you, I'm going to take you back to some of the more important moments that have happened since the last time you saw us, which I believe, from what I'm thinking, was Real Madrid beating us. So it wasn't Real Madrid, was it? It was Barcelona. I'd actually completely forgotten. Yeah, Barcelona beating us and making me really sad. Well, let's see whether we managed to cheer ourselves up. And the first game we're going to show you is the Supercopa final. Yes, we're finally going to be showing you one of these. The Supercopa de España. We're going to be showing you this. It's against Barcelona, so we get a chance to have a bit of quick revenge against the last team that beat us. That again you saw in the last video, and we're going to do our best to try and put one past them. Now, them beating us in the league meant they went ahead of us in the league, so this was a great opportunity of getting a little bit of revenge. And that revenge started with a highlightless first half. 0-0 after the first 45 minutes, not a lot to shout home about. Even split of shots, however, match momentum is very much in our favour. Not that that really means anything without goals. Well, we finally got something going in the second half. In the 57th minute, Maria puts a ball over to Adam Hložák, who runs wide with it, drifts in, crosses it down along the floor to Johnny Salvador. And Johnny Salvador does what Johnny Salvador always does. It's 24 goals for the season up until this point for him, and it is 1-0 in a trophy that I keep talking about how the Copa del Rey is our trophy. This trophy's become our trophy even more. Yes, it's practically the glorified Community Shield. I don't care. We like to win it, and Johnny Salvador puts us ahead in it. And other than this nervy 95th minute late chance from Ferran Torres, there was nothing else really to write home about. We ran the final bit of the clock out, and the 96th minute came and went, and we lifted yet another Supercopa. Again, we've got a bit of a habit of winning this trophy. Won it last season, the season before, and the season before. And a couple of seasons before that we're in the final as well. We really like this trophy, and well, I mean, why wouldn't we? It's one that we like to win a lot. I'm repeating myself because I'm waiting for this trophy celebration to happen. There it is. We're lifting it. I don't know whether that's in it. I can't remember whether he was on the pitch at this point. But there it is. We lift the Supercopa again. But for the first time on camera. We then came up against Copenhagen in the Champions League, our second to last Champions League game. Remember, at this point, we were looking to try and make sure that we got through to the proper knockout stage and that we didn't have to go through the awfulness of the playoffs. Having said that, when we won the Champions League a couple of seasons ago, we did it through the playoffs, so maybe it isn't that awful. But we wanted to make sure that we got the fast track through. I think start off beautifully. Stefan Mijacic starts a little move here, which isn't very pretty. It's actually kind of awful from Copenhagen's part. Maria doesn't manage to get the goal, but Joao Veloso, whose conversion into a striker continues to amaze me with just how well it's going, carries on going well, and he makes it 1-0 inside a minute. Oh, we've stumbled onto a gem, and I don't even know what made me decide to pull the trigger, but I'm very glad I did. 1-0 to us. And it didn't take long for it to become 2. Sandoval managed to get around his man here, gets to Gula. Gula out wide to Osnu. Osnu just runs in, chips it over to Joao Veloso again. Joao Veloso, 19th goal of the season. He's having a lovely time. And you know what? I am as well. Again, I don't really know what prompted me to do something as ridiculous as play a midfielder. as a striker just to see how it would work in the final season of the save. But again, I'm very glad I did. Well, scoring 2 in 10 minutes wasn't enough for us. We decided we wanted to go and get a third. We had a few more chances before this one, but in the 15th minute, Sacha Boey whips it in, and Johnny Salvador, say it with me, does Johnny Salvador things. 3-0 in the 15th minute. It's game over already. It's looking great. It's not completely confirmed at this point, but we're putting in a really strong case for that qualifying spot, and at least making sure that we're going to be in pole position come the final game of the league phase. And what better way to strengthen that position by scoring another goal? Their goalkeeper comes out, makes a complete hash of it, so does the defender, and Johnny Salvador goes and gets another. Because again, it's Johnny Salvador. It's what we like to see him do. And 4-0, it was unassailable before, really. It's unassailable now. I don't think there's any arguments. Wonderful ball from his strike partner, Veloso. And, I mean, that's what Veloso's bread and butter is. And Johnny Salvador, he ain't missing those. And just when you thought 4 goals inside half an hour was going to be enough, oh no. No, it is most certainly not. Maria with a lovely ball down the line again to Joe Veloso, who again gets it to Johnny Salvador. That partnership blossoming through the season, and we make it 5 in the 42nd minute. And I do believe, I could be completely wrong, but I do believe that's a Johnny Salvador hat-trick. Yes, it is. I've just looked it up just to confirm it. Johnny Salvador, first half hat-trick. What a hero. And you'd think we'd probably stop there, but no. We just wanted more. Sacha Boey gets the ball, trying to get into the box, runs into a little bit of traffic here, managed to go all the way back to Rengifo. Rengifo actually loses the ball and then does the business to win it back here. Gets it into Ardagula. His shot is a beauty, and it makes it 6-0 in the 62nd minute. Oh, I really enjoyed this game. It's taking me back. I played this game about 2 months ago, and it's taking me back to as if it was yesterday. Lovely stuff here. Again, Rengifo making up for his own mistake, gets it to Gula, and that's just what Ardagula does. Well, that and free kicks. But why settle for 6 of the best when you can have 7? Adam Asnu runs from the halfway line down that left flank, decides to go to Sandoval, who's been a gem this season. Lovely floaty cross, and there is Joao Veloso again, just doing Joao Veloso things, and that's his hat-trick as well. Because why? I decided at this point there's no point keeping him on. I've even got one of the youngsters on in midfield at this point. What's the point not doing that? But yeah, another hat-trick, another great performance. Joao Veloso. Try him as a striker. Trust me. Felt a little bit guilty, so from this kickoff I decided, you know what? Let's just let them have something to have their fans cheer about. I don't do any such thing. They earn this completely. From their kickoff, they give the ball away to us, we give it back to them, and then they manage to get a ball in here, and 7-0 becomes 7-1. I'll let them have it. I'm not that mad about it. Normally I'll be a bit disappointed from a defensive point of view, but I'll let them have that. It is what it is. I even skipped the goal because I'm just like, who cares at this point? But we are nothing if not petty, and because we liked our 7-goal lead, we decided we want to restore it. It's whipped in here, floated about a little bit, comes to the youngster. It's a little bit of chaos in the box, but Daniel Boedo, who's been a bit anonymous for the season just because of injuries, form and just ability in general, manages to put the ball in the back of the net and gets himself a rare goal from a rare appearance. It's a scrappy corner again. It doesn't really kind of follow any tactics at all, but it falls to Boedo and he does what he needs to. Going into the final Champions League game, this is how the table looks. We were second, but still only confirmed a playoff place before the final game against Galatasaray. As it often is in these situations, a win is pretty much the only thing that would guarantee us a place in the full knockout stage, not the playoffs that we always end up in, other than that one season, which was last year, where we got to the semi-finals. We want to try and go a step further, but having the extra kind of space with not having to play games would really help us try and achieve that feat. An Operation Avoid the Playoffs actually gets off to a pretty good start. Some possession in their own half of Galatasaray here. They do give it away. We get the ball. Ardagula looks for options, decides to go to Ilic on the wing. Ilic goes to cross the ball in. There's no real danger there. So Galatasaray decide they're going to do the job for us because our strikers seem to have forgotten the memo. I mean, I'll take it. It's an own goal. I'd rather one of our boys had scored it, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. Have some of that. Ilic gets out wide, whips the ball in. Again, there's no real threat from any of our boys. That's the worst thing. Oh dearie me. If I'm being completely honest, the rest of the first half was quite disappointing. So he made 1 or 2 changes at half time and then went into the second half looking for that elusive second goal. And, well, you judge whether that's a foul. I don't know. I feel that's a little bit of a soft one, but Souček fouls one of our boys. It goes to VAR. The referee has a little chat with the little man inside of his ear, and the little man inside of ear concludes that it is in fact going to be a penalty, which means there's only one person who will step up. And I've got to tell you this, Johnny Salvador, not very good at penalties in the grand scheme of things, but he still has enough about him to put that one in the back of the net, and he makes it too with his 29th of the season. And in celebration of a bit early celebration of managing to avoid the playoffs completely, we decided we wanted to go and get a third just to seal things up. Ilic runs down that left wing into Baskakov. Baskakov looking for space, gets it to Johnny Salvador, who gets his 30th goal of the season and second goal of the game, which surely at this point ties everything up. You'd like to think so anyway. How many times have we seen this? Ilic has a bad game every now and then, or a couple of them, but just bombs down that left-hand side, gets it to someone, that person gets it to Salvador, or it's direct to Salvador, and we get a goal. Many times, that's how many. Don't know whether we should be concerned about this, but kind of similarly to the Copenhagen game, from kickoff, Galatasaray decide that they actually do want to show up and score a goal. Jack Grealish, that's a weird career move, manages to get tackled there, but the ball still falls to some of the Galatasaray players. Tete gets into the box, gets it into Yusuf Demir, and Demir manages to get his 8th of the season. Because why not? Just to spoil our fun a little bit. But then we spoil their fun a little bit from kickoff. And this is a quick goal. Literally, ball comes to McGeas not far from kickoff. He decides to run down, whips it into Johnny Salvador, looping header. And it's less than a minute after they score their goal and Johnny Salvador decides he wants to go and get a hat-trick. The man's an absolute legend. It was a first half hat-trick against Copenhagen, second half one against Galatasaray, and that is enough to put us through to the round of 16 of the Champions League and to avoid the playoffs completely. The next big important game, Copa del Rey semi-final against Real Betis. We breezed the competition through the rest of the tournament. Didn't think it was worth showing you those early games against teams not in La Liga. So we come up against the first real challenge against the Real Betis side, who are fighting in the top half of the table this year. As I'm currently talking to you, they are 7th. At this point, they were in and around there as well. But we do face them for the first time in the Copa del Rey. Of course, this game over 2 legs. And I could have let the highlight run from the kickoff because it was all one continuous highlight for the first couple of minutes of the game. But I didn't. But it was one continuous highlight and we practically scored from the kickoff. Johnny Salvador, again, doing things that not only Johnny Salvador, but doing things that he likes to do very often that we've seen him do many a time. Getting a goal from a Baskakov assist. It's nice build-up from us as well. We've given the ball away a couple of times, but we settled on this period of possession. Levine speeding things up, getting it to Baskakov, who lofts it over to Salvador, who chests it down and blasts it with his left foot. Lovely stuff. But was that to be the first of many? We win possession there, and Sandoval now running down that left-hand side in support with the ball. Lofts it in, looking for Levine, doesn't find him. Sacha Boey manages to pick it up. Note Sandoval getting around the edge of the area. And Alejandro Sandoval, almost every one of those 7 goals he scored have been in and around that area because he's just so good. It's a question mark in my head as to whether he's being wasted as a playmaker because he's got the ability to put the ball in the back of the net from midfield so often that maybe we need to give him a freer role. Bit of a debate, something I maybe think about in the future. Spoilers. And that was half time. And then we get into the second half and, well, we just carry on and pick up where we left off. Levine gets the ball here into Joao Veloso. Joao Veloso just, oh my God, this boy is so good. What a ball that is, again to Johnny Salvador. I'd love to see how many times Joao Veloso has assisted Johnny Salvador. I don't know whether there's a way for me to find that in the game. If there is, I will locate it. But my word, what a pass it is as well. Levine does great as well here. He's a willing runner in there. Even if his passing and shooting maybe isn't the best, he's a willing runner. Gets it to Veloso. And as a creative midfielder, that's his bread and butter. And that's Salvador's bread and butter as well. But you know me by now. enough is never enough. We intercept the ball yet again, and we decide to bomb forward. Baskakov with the ball at his feet, looking for options, gets it in to lone striker Vitrini, who I've yet to introduce you to, but I will do properly when this is over. But there's no better introduction than showing you that, which I think was his first goal for the club. It may not have been, but I'm pretty sure it was. And it did just put the cherry on top of an absolutely superb performance. What's this? A game in La Liga? Nonsense. Yeah, this is probably the biggest La Liga game. Well, no, it actually is the biggest La Liga game that we've actually had since the last time we saw you against Atletico Madrid. And I thought we probably should show you at least one league game. And it just so happens to be one where we like to score some goals, as you've noticed has been a trend recently. We do have some little build-up play here. We speed things up once we get into the midfield. Baskakov into Salvador, and it's a rare edge of the area goal from Salvador. He's not bad at those goals, to be fair. He can put them in from range if he needs to. He does have long shooting of, well, to be honest with you, I've just double-checked it. His long shots are 10, so he's done very well there, but with 17 finishing. Is any shot a long shot? I don't know. At this point, you're probably sick of the sound of the name Johnny Salvador. Well, I've got bad news for you. This game, you're going to be even more sick of the sound of it as well. Joao Veloso gets it out wide to Sasha Bowie, who provides that very important width for us. What a ball that is from him, by the way. And Johnny Salvador makes it 2 in the 41st minute. Johnny Salvador is only 6 foot tall, but his aerial prowess is so good. If he's a really tall, really talented defender, he's going to struggle in the air. But he gets so many... Bearing in mind we play a system without wingers, we are very good aerially. And our drubbing of the 4th place team in La Liga continued in the second half, because we just like to batter teams, apparently. Balls chipped over to Johnny Salvador. And I don't really know who to attribute that to, the defender or the goalkeeper, but there's definitely something that could be done better there, because it is from around the penalty spot. It's not a particularly powerful header. It just kind of floats in. I mean, again, I'd be disappointed if I'd conceded this, but it's chipped over from Levine. It's from the edge of the area. He scored a header from the edge of the area. That's nonsense. And now for a bit of variety, a goal not scored by Johnny Salvador, but it is still a goal scored by us as well. It's actually Salvador to Veloso being the partnership here, and Joao Veloso, again, looking every bit a striker, which, considering he'd never played in the position until pre-season this year, is still baffling to me. But he does a really good job there with the finish as well. We did notice at the start, when we started Veloso as a striker, that Salvador was being the provider very often. It settled down the way around it should be with Veloso being a provider, but there is their example of how it can happen the other way as well. And that just leaves us with the Copa del Rey semi-final second leg. We saw what happened in the first leg. 4 goals to us, and we go into the second leg pretty much knowing that we're in the final. We don't know who it's against, but we're pretty sure we're in the final. We just can't confirm it, obviously. Now, it's worth pointing out that the game before this one in La Liga was actually against Real Betis as well, and it was a 4-3 absolute stormer of a game that we managed to edge. So we knew Betis had a better performance in them than the first leg, and they really showed it here. They go and score a goal in the 18th minute that had me just absolutely livid with the boys. Just switching off, not really paying attention, because this games like this, it feels like you're 4-0 up in this game, not that it's a completely new game, and Real Betis really took advantage of it. But they could take no more advantage of it, and we ended up getting through, not by the skin of our teeth quite, but we had to rely on the first leg result, and that has put us in the final against Sporting Gijon, who are a La Liga 2 side. Now, just a reminder, beginning of the save, second season, we got to the final of the... In fact, we were... did we not? Oh, no, we weren't. So, we were at this point, not this. We were a La Liga 2 side, but we got to the final and lost on penalties in our second season. So, what the point I was making was, they're having a bit of a madness, just like we did that season. And they were the finalists in the first season of this save, actually, Sporting Gijon. Have they got there again since? I don't think they have, because we've been in almost all of them and won quite a few of them. No, they haven't. So they're back here looking to make amends for that final, where we're looking to very much make sure that we don't let them make amends for that final. I do just want to double check. Have we got a rivalry with them? I think we did at one point, but we don't anymore. So that's a game we've got to look forward to. But just to show you the full schedule of the game since that Barcelona game, this is how it's been looking. It's been looking sensational. That loss against Betis is the only time we've not won a game since then. Draws have been very, very rare, but they've not happened at all in the second half of this season, and we've looked really good. Now, transfers. You were aware of Stefan Bajetic. You were aware of the fact that we sold El Wahi. So to show you a little bit more business that's ended up happening. We had money left over from the Wahi deal. So I decided that I was going to go and spend it on some Wonder Kids. That's exactly what I did. So I'll go through the Wonder Kids first. We've signed Gabriel Campos, who's a Wonder Kid and central defender. He's actually come in and he's in the first team at the moment because of the way that everything's kind of shaken out with players. Now, we did have another defender, I think, but we got rid of him or we sent him back off his loan or something like that. Either way, we got rid of a defensive option and we decided to go ahead with him instead in the squad just as another player to have, which I think it's a great thing to do. He's 20 years old. He's from Internacional. We had spaces in the team. We thought, why not? We also signed Wampa, who's a 5-star potential player. He's not a Wonder Kid just yet, but he's Colombian 5-star potential player, 2-star current ability. He's currently in our under-19s. In fact, he's not. He'll be assigned to our under-19s, but he's currently back on loan at Atletico Nacional. We've left him there for a season, but this guy could be an absolute sensation. We'll never know, but I'm just future building a little bit for the club. And look at his value. We signed him for £3 million. Look at his value, Wampa. We also signed this guy, Miroslav Veličković. Sure. Potential 4-star player, not quite as good. We signed him for a paltry fee of 2.5 million. Again, he's been loaned back to the club that we signed him from. Again, I had the money. I just thought, let's go and sign someone. And he could be a decent player. He's already at the level of being La Liga 2. He could have slotted straight into our B team. But I thought, let's actually let him stay at his club and finish the season out. That felt like the responsible thing to do. Miguel Sanchez, £2 million. We brought this guy in as well. 2-star current ability. Again, gone back to his parent, well, not to his parent club. He's gone back to the club we've signed him from. But again, another player who's got a lot of potential. 4.5 stars potentially. Minimum of 3.5 star. Currently 2-star already. Again, if we wanted him, he could be playing in our La Liga 2 B team. That's how good he currently is. And then these two were just kind of ones that didn't feel like they were going to be as good, but actually they could be bargains. So this guy we signed from Huesca. And we signed him for a paltry fee. I've said that already, but £625,000. Currently worth up to 42 million. He's 5-star potential. And again, another player who, okay, he can play in the third tier, but still, his first touch is exceptional. He's brave. His work rate's good. He's got good determination. And he's 17 years old. And he's in our B team already, and hopefully he's doing wonderful things. And then the final one we signed was this guy from Barcelona. This one's probably not going to be as good, and I'm not quite as happy with this one, to be honest with you. 3.5 star potential. He's got low determination. But again, the value is there compared to what we signed him for, so at least we can try and make a profit on him. And then the other one you've already seen, Riccardo Vetrini. He's 22 years old. He's a powerful striker. He's 6'4". He's not the quickest in the world, but he is a very, very decent aerial threat. He's got a great first touch, and his passing's not bad. And he's been signed to be a deep line forward backup for Veloso. And I tell you what, he's some player. So he first started playing for us against Alaves, took a couple of games, then started against Rayo Vallecano, got an assist. Next game, came on, last 9 minutes against Betis, as you saw, scored a goal. Played a little bit against Atletico Madrid, then played a little bit more against Sociedad, got an assist, played a little bit more against Betis in the 4-3 superstar game that we had, which was edge of your seat stuff, got another goal there. Came on, didn't really do much against Betis in the second leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final, but against Girona in the next game, played the 90 minutes, had a masterclass of a game, 4 goals and an assist. Played a little bit against Inter in the first leg of the Champions League. You're going to be seeing the second leg of that today. And then in his last game against Mallorca, goal and an assist from the start. For a backup striker who's come in, that's a really, really good record of goals. I'm really, really happy with that so far. So, really good. Really, really pleased with that. And that is everything up to date. So what we now need to do is we need to get ready for Inter Milan. I've actually come back a little bit early, so I'm going to get us to the Inter game. And then we'll see whether we can get through to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. I'd like to think we can. If we can't, then it's been a bit of a waste of a final season, really, hasn't it? I Okay, we are one step closer to another Champions League quarter final, and this is the 11 that we're going to be using to try and get there. Now, I didn't show you highlights for the first leg against Inter the same way that I wouldn't show you the first leg normally. We did win that game 2-1, I believe. I should have probably checked that, shouldn't I? Yes, we did 2-1 away from home. We are now at home, so we should, in theory, have an advantage. Now, a couple of things I didn't tell you beforehand in terms of what happened in January leading up to now. We had offers in for a number of our players. We're finally, in the final season, starting to get people recognising the quality of our team. Salvador had 2 offers in from Manchester City who are no longer interested in him. Both offers were around £100 million altogether, but only about 50 up front. We looked at the time. Could we get someone in who would be at that value, who would be as good as him? We decided no. You all know, probably, if you've been watching the save for a while, that Francesco Esposito would be my choice to replace him. We had him, of course, in the early years of the save when he was still making his name. He's now scoring for fun at Paris Saint-Germain, so that he was ruled out because he signed this summer. So we knew that there wasn't really going to be anyone for the value of what we would get up front for him. So we turned that down. They then made another offer that wasn't much better. We counter-offered both times they rejected. Offer was also made for Baskakov for a similar amount. It's 50 up front, about 30 on instalments. Very good offer, but again, we decided to keep him because he's actually in really good form this year. And where we could have cashed in on him, but why cash in on a player who's actually helping us do well? And we also had a couple of offers in for Vangelis Litskas, one from Spurs, one from Liverpool. But again, the problem with the Baskakov offer and the offers for Litskas, non-negotiable. Problem with the Litskas offers, outside of our transfer window. So we wouldn't have been able to replace him, which is a bit of a problem. Now, this is the 11 that we're going to be going for. Standard back four with goalkeeper. Restes in goal, Bowie, Silva, Rebel and Ilic in defence. Midfield. Herculano was the holding midfielder, which has been pretty standard this season. Sandoval as the attack-minded midfielder and Litskas as the deep line playmaker with Baskakov at the tip of the diamond. And then you got Veloso and Salvador up front. I decided to switch things around a little bit. Maria's been pretty trash, but he's got ability to be a playmaker. Like, his passing's good, he's got decent enough flair to do it, he'd like to try killer balls, and he can play there, and his tackling's not bad either. So I looked at Litskas and Sandoval. Litskas can play as an attacking midfielder, so initially he was going to be my choice. But then I stopped and looked at their technical attributes, and actually, they're both very, very similar, and I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I opted to go Sandoval as the player to go further forward. He likes to lob the keeper. Let's get him a bit further forward so we can actually try that. But Litskas is more defensive. Let's keep him a bit further back. That felt like the right thing to do. So we've tried it. And so far, Sandoval's had one good game, one not so good game. But even a not so good game wasn't terrible. So, a bit of a late save experiment, but we're doing it anyway. Right. Let's see if we can get to another quarter final. Again, it's a 2-1 lead from that first leg. Let's see whether we can convert it and make it a full-on victory against Inter Milan. We have played Inter Milan many a time on this, not on this channel, but on this save as well. So we are rather familiar with them. Let's see whether we can go and batter them and get through to the quarters another time. What would be I think the third time in our history. The first time, of course, is when we won the Champions League. The second time was last season when we got to the semis. Let's see if we can do it for a third time. Hopefully we can. Again, we did what we needed to do in the first leg. It was not plain sailing necessarily, but it was more comfortable than I thought it would be. I'm not expecting that necessarily to be the same here, but we will see. Now, we have an early free kick here. Sandoval launching it in. Herculano with a floating header, just couldn't quite get it in there. We do win a throw-in. And the main reason I've gone Litskas and Sandoval is because we know how good Litskas is. Sandoval, obviously, he's been a wonder kid. He's been in the he's been like the top wonder kid in the world last season, I think it was. We need to be starting him every game if he's fit. But we also need to do that with Litskas. Now, either we sell one, or we find a way to get both of them in the team. So this is my attempt at getting both of them in the team. Now, Sandoval hasn't started off very well. I am very comfortable, if we need to swap them round and have Sandoval be playmaker. Litskas can get further forward. I have used Litskas once as an attacking midfielder. He actually scored a goal and did quite well in that game, but it was a bit of a weird game. It was one where we got battered a little bit. So it's a weird one. I don't quite know whether turning around would be a better solution. At the moment, I'm pretty confident in this, because if we get Sandoval in those positions, Okay, he didn't score there, but he's going to have those opportunities. And we know that, I'll just turn this, I've got an extra light down here, and I can just see the reflection in my sign over there. We know if we get him in those positions, he's going to have a crack at it. And with 15 long shots, at some point, him having a crack at it could turn into a goal. Litzkas having a good game, by the way. Bowie having a good game. It's all looking good now. We are in added time of the first half here. 2 minutes of it. We're in that first minute. Sandoval does well to nick the ball there. Veloso goes back to Silva. Silva. Sandoval loses the ball though. That's a bit disappointing. Herculano does really well. Veloso now waits for the run of Johnny Salvador. And Johnny Salvador makes it 1-0. It's his 45th of the season. And it's 3-1 on the overall scope of the tie. 1-0 on the night, 3-1 overall on aggregate. Sandoval very lucky there. He did quite well to put pressure on, and then Herculano doing exactly what we want him to do as that defensive midfielder. He's been the best defensive midfielder we've had. He's maintained a 7 rating through the majority of the season. He's looked like a superstar doing it as well, and he's looked more comfortable there than he ever did as a centre-back. And Jean-Pascal Ribel may have gone and made it 2 on the night. I don't think he has. I can't quite see, but I think I saw the flag up. I think this is going to be disallowed. If it is, it's fine. It's not the end of the world, but I will be a bit disappointed. No hands have gone up, and it has indeed been disallowed. It is what it is. It's going to be a half-time any moment. Let's have a quick look. Where is Ribel? It wasn't even Ribel, I don't think, who was offside. I think it was Baskakov, judging by the mop of blonde hair. But anyway, it is 1-0. I'll take a 1-0. I won't be disappointed with a 1-0, but I would have quite liked us to get a little bit more, if I'm honest. I'm going to leave everything and we'll just go again. I feel like that just makes the most sense. We'll just go again and we'll just see what we can do with what we have got. Now, I do want to see another goal. It just, you know what I'm like, more than one goal has to be scored. Otherwise, I'm going to be a bit on the disappointed side. Johnny Salvador was doing nothing until that goal. Obviously, we've not seen any highlights so far in this half until now. Sasha Bowie with the ball to Veloso. Passing between them, goes back to Herculano into Litzkas. Litzkas has come quite far over here. I don't know where Sandoval is. But, well, Ilic ends up getting the ball from the tackle there. Whips it in, looking for Salvador. Can't quite find him. Ribel's come far forward here into Ilic. Ilic again looking for it in. And it somehow worms its way through to Joe Veloso. And this time it will count. And it will be 2 on the night. 4-1 overall. We used to really struggle against Inter Milan, but the quality of our improvement has kind of shown. Look at our pass map there, by the way. Everything out to the wings. The players on the pitch have obviously identified. We don't play for the wide. We play to play through the middle. But they're obviously identifying, no, those wings are where we're getting the best kind of joy today. So it's working quite well. I can't remember what my point was there, but I don't really care because we're winning and that's the main thing. Right, it is substitute o'clock. Let's make a few substitutions. I'm going to rest Sandoval. Not the best of games. Not a bad game, though, but we'll bring Levine on for a few minutes. I'm also going to bring on Maria for Litzkas. Litzkas has played well, but we'll bring Maria on as the playmaker as well. Give him a few minutes in that relatively new position. Herculano's done well as well. We'll bring Bajetic on. And I'll bring Asnu on because Asnu has been coming back from an injury. So let's get a few minutes under his belt. We know the game is done at this point. They've got to score 3 goals to tie in 15 or so in-game minutes. So they have a lot to do. I'm pretty confident that we're done at this point. But we will just try and not take it for granted. I've just realised Inter have got Zaire Emery. Oh, what a lovely goal that is from Jose. Well, there we go. I've jinxed it now. 2-1. We do love to give teams the occasional consolation goal, and I'm not exactly here for it, if I'm honest, but it is what it is. Zaire Emery, if we didn't have the abundance of central midfield talent that we do, he's a player I'd love to sign. I used him in my ill-fated, was it One and Done, or was it Chasing Glory? I can't remember. I used him in a save, and he was sensational in that midfield. Forced his way into there. I'm going to rest Johnny Salvador. We're going to bring on Vitrini. And we'll move Veloso and Vitrini around. And Vitrini just as that deep line playmaker, a deep line forward. He's just such a good little talent. Like, doesn't really do a lot when he's got the ball at his feet in terms of mobility. But what he can do with it if he's just looking to shift it on is great. And Jean-Pascal Ribel may get his goal. Justice for Juan Pascal. Or Juan Pascal, I don't know. Ribel, we'll just go with his surname. Justice for him. The corner comes in from Ramon Maria. It's a really good corner as well. And Lunin has no chance. Again, Lunin, a player we're familiar with from our my career series last year. And that is us. 5-2 overall, 3-1 on the night, through to the next round of the Champions League, which of course is the quarter-final. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Right, let's have a look and see what else is happening. So Salvador with the 1 goal was the player of the match. We are through to the round, from the round of 16 through to the quarter-final. It's not been drawn yet, but that's how all the other ties are looking. So at the moment, only 4 ties have been fully settled. So Newcastle are through as well as us. And we've also got Manchester City and RB Leipzig through as well. Still to play, Liverpool and AC Milan, Liverpool winning. Real Madrid and Arsenal with Real Madrid winning. Paris Saint-Germain and Man United, Paris Saint-Germain winning. And Barcelona and Bayern Munich with Barcelona winning. So it's going to be interesting to see who we get through that draw. Now, we've done the 3rd quarter of the season. So in theory, we've just got that to play. I will show you the league table in a minute as it looks. We are going to have a minimum of 2 episodes left because one will be Copa del Rey final. Just the final, nothing else. And then we will bring you back for the final game of the season. I will also do a special one-off episode if we manage to get through to a Champions League final. I will show you the Champions League final if we manage to get to it. So that's what's going to happen. Now, quickly to show you the league table. That is how it's looking. We were second on head-to-head against Barcelona because of the game we played in the last video, up until a couple of games ago, where Barcelona lost. And they lost, I can't remember exactly who it was. It wasn't that long ago. It's Athletic Bilbao. So Bilbao won when we beat Mallorca, which was our last league game. So it's very recent that we've ended up with a 3-point gap. Barcelona have overturned Real Madrid this season, but we have just inched it a little bit. We've actually got our goal difference back up. Our goal difference was really struggling at one point. But as you can see, our goals against is not very good. It's the joint 3rd best in the league, which is not particularly fantastic. But our goals for is head and above everyone else. 88 goals scored for us. 77 for Barcelona, 58 for Real Madrid. It's actually Sevilla with the next best after Barcelona. Real Madrid lacking a little bit in that. Real Madrid have still got the best defence in the league. Real Madrid are very, very good at keeping the ball out of the net, but it's getting the ball in the net, which is a bit of a problem. In terms of everything else, Salvador is rocking it in terms of goal scorer for top goal scorer of the league. Joao Veloso is next with 18 goals. They're both on the top players. Average rating as well, 1st and 3rd respectively. Semencia, the Portuguese winger, is the other guy. And Baskakov is on the assist chart as well. We also have Levine on there from midfield. He's turned into a quite a handy little Mazzala on that kind of level. And Veloso's on there as well. We've got quite a few who are spread out too. On goals, we have got no one else on here. These two are far and ahead. We've got every other one who scored for us kind of spread out. All of them are more or less spread out. Now, we did have injuries to Restes, which did mean he missed a few games. He's got half of the clean sheets as Canizares, but Canizares, to be fair, we know is a machine. We have missed, I can't believe what to say, it's Carnesecchi. I thought we made a good deal there with the value that he was going for. But Restos and Canizares are on another level. Whether Restes could get to that level at 26, I don't know. He's still got a bit of time in him as a goalkeeper, but he's certainly not really shown it this season. He's done enough, but I think also we've been in a year of transition with Herculano moving to midfield, so we can probably blame a little bit on that as well. But that is how that is looking. Just to quickly show you our Copa del Rey path. We've played against Algeciras. We beat them 4-0. Boedo, Levine and Hlojek with 2. We then played against Ponferradina. We beat them 2-0. Again, heavily rotated, but a bit disappointing. Baskakov and Hlojek scoring 2 goals to get us through there. And then the Copa del Rey quarter-final was Rayo Vallecano. Won that 3-0. Sandoval with a penalty and 2 for Johnny Salvador. And then you saw what happened against Betis. So that is how everything's looking. That is how everything is looking going forward. The next time you see us, it will be for Sporting Gijon. We will not talk about anything other than the Copa del Rey final to keep everything up to date. Or do we? I'm now thinking we change the format a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play all these games. I am going to show you highlights of the Champions League to show you what happened in both of those. And then I'm also going to show you a highlight of Valencia as well. And then we'll play Sporting Gijon. and then we have a little focus in the last episode of the league season on those final few games. We may even play Barcelona and Granada and change it to a more standard episode. And then if we have one more episode, it might be the Champions League final. That's what I'm going to do. I've changed it on the fly. That's what we're going to do for the final quarter of the season. So, I will see Sporting Gijon in the Copa del Rey final, where hopefully we will be adding Copa del Rey number 5, would it be? 1, 2, 3. Copa del Rey number 3. No, 4. It will be 4. No, it will be 3. So we got to the final there. We drew. Got to the final there. We lost. We won there. That's number 1. Number 2 there against Valencia. And then number 3 last season. So it would be number 4. So fingers crossed we can get them. Have I counted that right? So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it'll be number 4. So fingers crossed we can get Copa del Rey number 4. Hopefully I can learn maths as well. That would be important. And we'll see whether we can end this season on the biggest high that we possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a big like on there for me. And don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so, and you'll make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.